What is up, YouTube fragrance family and friends? I'm Tommy with Studio Sense and welcome to another video review today. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Tommy Hilfiger fragrance. I just got this in day before yesterday and I'm really excited to bust it out of the cellophane, take a look at it with you guys. When we come back, we're going to take a closer look at Tommy Hilfiger Impact Intense, the Eau de Parfum version. We'll do an unboxing. I'll give you my first impressions on this fragrance, that and more, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. So today we're talking about Tommy Hilfiger Impact Intense, the Eau de Parfum version of the 2020 release Impact. Impact Intense was released in 2021. It is a new release. Let's take a closer look at that presentation.
Check this.
Of course, the box is the red, white, and blue. That is Tommy Hilfiger. They're very well known branded colors. One of the things you'll notice though when you get this, it's very hard to get out of the box. Like most fragrances just slip right out. You got to be careful with this one. Oftentimes you'll pull this off before you actually get the bottle out. With this one, I had to kind of turn it upside down and wiggle it out a little bit. So just a cautionary tale, be careful when you're pulling it out. It's easy to drop the lid and you don't want to bust that little decant inside of the actual lid itself. Guys, I gotta say, I was fairly impressed with the Eau de Toilette version of Impact. I really liked it. We as men often complain about the performance of a fragrance, but it's just not possible for every single release to be a banger or a beast. If that were the case, we wouldn't have those monikers to use in describing them. But this one actually performs really well for the money that you spend on it. It's a relatively light fragrance. You don't have to worry about overspraying it. It does have a little bit of sweetness that it carries with it, which makes it really appealing. It's very woodsy, it's lightly balsamic, a little bit powdery. I think I even described it as being like Prada-esque in terms of that powder, because it's just light. It's not talcum-y, in other words, just enough to be masculine and refreshing and woody. I feel like it's a really good signature scent. So I was excited to hear, of course, about Impact Intense. Went right out, picked it up. I won't go over the differences in these bottles in superb detail, but this red and white ring around the lid itself is a little bit larger on the Eau de Parfum version, the Intense version. This is exactly the same size. The bottle shape is the same. Now this is a dark, starts really dark at the top and then gets a little bit lighter, so it's a reverse gradient until it gets almost clear on the bottom. So I really like that because you can immediately tell the difference between the Eau de Parfum and the Eau de Toilette when they're side by side on the shelf. Now I don't know what to expect. I'm assuming this is going to be a true Eau de Parfum, taking that formula of Impact and moving it towards the area of a little bit richer, a little bit darker, and a little bit better performing. Let's talk a little bit about that note breakdown.
Tommy Hilfiger Impact Intense features notes of bergamot, red apple, elemi resin, amber, labdanum, green cardamom, sweet chestnut, cedarwood, sandalwood, and akigala wood.
Citruses in the top, you've got bergamot, you've got red apple, and then you've got a little bit of resins in there. I like that. I like the fact that the resins are introduced in the top, in the very open. In the heart, you've got amber, labdanum, you've got green cardamom, and sweet chestnut. So you've got a nice mix of fragrant notes there, resting on a base of 3 woods, and that's where the woods in this comes from. It's a very woody fragrance. You've got cedar wood, you've got sandalwood, and then you've got akigala wood. Akigala wood, of course, is a Javadan trademarked fragrant note that adds a little bit of pungent woods. It's a very earthy, almost like a patchouli, earthy, woody, fragrant note. And I like that in a fragrance, so let's go ahead and check out the juice in this. I'm gonna set the travel spray aside because I definitely will be using that. And it's something that's small enough, it's large enough to where you can get a ton of use out of it, but it's small enough to where you can put in a suit jacket. It's not bulky or will stick out. So I really, really like that. I'd like to see more fragrances actually include a decanter travel spray with them. That would be really cool. Oh yes. So much more rich. Of course, it's easy to say that this is what Impact should have been, and any flanker that is an improvement over its predecessor, it's easy to say this is what it should have been, but this is what it should have been. I mean, I like Impact. This is not what I would term a true eau de parfum. There's a little bit of a difference between this and the eau de toilette version. It's not just a darker, richer variation of it. This is an oriental spicy fougere. At least that's the way that it breathes right now off a tester strip. You've got some really nice sweetness in there. The bergamot, the red apple, the Lvly resins are coming in really strong in that open. I really like the open of this. I really want to try this out on skin. Sometimes I just go straight to skin because, especially if I like it on a tester strip, then I don't want to waste time analyzing, where a fragrance is going on a strip when I can just do it on my arm. And I don't have a fragrance on today, so let's try it out. Put it on both arms. This might be one of my favorite mainstream fragrance releases of 2021. I really like where this is going so far. This is very similar to Armani Code Absolu. It's not quite as balsamic powdery, which some people don't really care for the balsamic end of Armani Code Absolu. So for those of you out there that don't care for that, you might really like Impact Intense. It's got a little bit of the same fireworks going off in terms of the spicy and sweet. You've got both of those things going on simultaneously. One of the more fresh, tart, sweet apple notes that I've ever smelled in a fragrance. I really love when, and of course apple note is a fantasy note, but it's just a really tart. I'm all about sweet tart or sweet and sour, like rhubarb, apple, notes like that that are within themselves have a kind of a juxtaposition going on that works really well and that blends really well. And that's what's happening in Impact Intense with the citruses and the resins. Of course, the base itself is deep, woody, rich, warm, well-rounded. You've got a nice creamy sandalwood. You've got that Javada and Akigala wood, or some people say Akiga wood or Akigala wood, whatever. That's a really warm, well-rounded note. And of course, one of my favorite woods being cedar wood in there. Blended with those three, make this an extremely balsamic, woody, sweet, tart, rich fragrance. And again, it's just on the verge of being a spicy oriental fragrance, which is my favorite of all fragrance types. This is resinous, it's inviting, it's aromatic, it's very fresh, it's sweet. It does have a sense about it that is sensual. It's very different for a Tommy Hilfiger fragrance. Tommy Hilfiger is all about the mainstream blue jean and t-shirt, quick grab, easy dumb reach, that's just very lightly spicy, mostly citrusy, with a little bit of floral. In the past couple years, they've been releasing a lot of fragrances that are just borderline unisex. If they're not outright labeled or marketed as unisex, they're very much on the verge. For example, a fragrance release that you can still get on the Tommy Hilfiger website called Bold. Bold is a unisex fragrance, but it's not marketed as unisex, but it's very floral, tangerine, citrusy. Those floral notes in there are, you can't get away from that. And I'm not saying that it's a bad fragrance, but I'm just saying it's unisex. This is definitely not unisex. It's a very manly, masculine, very spicy, rich, resinous, balsamic, powdery, inviting, sensual fragrance. And I really, really am happy that Hilfiger has gone in that direction with Impact Intense. It's not something they've done before, at least in recent memory. And so looking forward to actually using this. Now, what are my final thoughts on Impact Intense in terms of its usage? Well, I think it's going to be a really great cool weather fragrance. Obviously because it's rich, it's spicy, it's warm, it's resinous, all the characteristics and attributes we like to see in our cool weather fragrances, but because it's just on the verge of being oriental and it's not really an oriental fougere, it opens itself up to being a little bit more versatile This definitely can be worn heavily in warmer weather. Now, I wouldn't wear it in high heat because, again, it's a little bit sweet and it's a little bit darker, a little bit richer, but you can wear it in warmer weather, you know, 60, 70 degrees. I wouldn't hesitate to wear this, and especially for nighttime wear. It's going to be a great date night fragrance because it is sexy. It's got a little bit of a sensual, sexy, alluring, magnetic quality about it that I'm looking forward to trying out more. So perfect for date night, perfect for intimate moments. It's going to be also one of those spicy aromatic fragrances that can get you compliments. So yes, I'm already calling it early. Impact Intense is going to be a compliment puller. It's going to be a compliment getter. I wouldn't call it necessarily a safe, but it's definitely going to be a crowd-pleasing fragrance. I definitely feel like this can take its place on your shelf beside Invictus Victory, Paco Rabanne XS Night. Fragrances like that that are a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, almost on the verge of being oriental if they're not outright oriental fragrances. It's just a great find, a great offering, and I feel like it's going to be a good summertime fragrance. I'm going to wear this a lot more in summer, and actually I'll give you a full review of this to tell you about the longevity. Of course, it's an eau de parfum concentration. This is a 100 ml bottle along with your decant, which gives you a little bit extra there, so it's almost like the caveat. This new release has a lot of things going for it. I really dig it. I really like it. Being a Hilfiger fragrance, this is going to be primarily for casual wear, but again, I feel like it's refined enough to where you could wear it to a board meeting with a suit and tie and nobody would question, you know, your choice of fragrance. It is going to be something you want to be careful about spraying too heavy on because it is a little sweet. 2 or 3 sprays of this eau de parfum will probably take you all day long if you're working an 8-hour workday at the office. And yes, I do feel like it's office appropriate. Well guys, thanks so much for coming along for the ride in my unboxing and first impression of Tommy Hilfiger Impact Intense. I think it's a great fragrance. I can't wait to wear more of this. I've actually been wearing quite a bit of the eau de toilette, and this one is a quick, easy, dumb reach, quick grab for right out of the shower to spray on and be fresh, but it is something that after about 5 hours you want to spray on more. So thankfully it does come with that travel size decant that you can take with you and spray more on. The eau de parfum probably going to outperform it, but you still get that same decant bottle that you can carry with you. So it kind of renders that argument that it doesn't last 12 plus hours kind of moot because you've got that travel spray to take with you. Thanks so much guys for stopping by and checking out today's first impression of Impact Intense. I hope you enjoyed this fragrance. If you have it, let me know what your thoughts are on it and let me know what your experience is like. If you have other fragrances that you feel are similar to this, let me know about those as well. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out today's video, and as always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.